Welcome everyone to electronic filing training for the Indiana courts. My name is George Connect and I am with Green Filing. Green Filing is one of the certified e-filing service providers for the Indiana courts. Just a couple notes before we get started. One, to get through this webinar, we'll take the full hour. We want to make sure that we get through all the material that we need to cover. But two, if you have questions, please feel free to ask them. You can use the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel. Go ahead and type up your question and submit it at any time, but we'll just wait till the end of the webinar in order to answer those questions, just to make sure that we can get through the material we need to cover. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. What I want to do first is just give you a brief overview of what's going on in Indiana in terms of electronic filing, and then also point out some resources that are available to you so that you can take those into consideration as you begin to participate in e-filing. And then we're going to spend the rest of our time actually showing you how to e-file. We'll show you how to go ahead and create an account and get started using Green Filing as your e-filing service provider. And then we'll do some demonstration filings. We'll file a brand new case with the court. We'll also file documents on existing cases. And then we'll look at how you're notified about status of your filings through email notifications and through the application itself. And like I said, if you have questions, go ahead and post them to the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll make sure that we address those at the end of the webinar. So let's start by talking about what's going on in Indiana in terms of electronic filing. So the state of Indiana has hired a vendor. Vendor's called Tyler Technologies, and they've put together this program called eFile Indiana. They've implemented, this company, Tyler Technologies, provides the software the courts need so that they can process and review your e-filings, accept them into the court system. And then they allow e-filing service providers like Green Filing to become certified providers to give you choice in terms of who you would like to utilize to file your documents into the court. So far, the courts have implemented e-filing in 43 different counties in the appellate courts and also in the tax court, and then across 42 different case types. E-filing has become mandatory already in 22 of those counties and in the appellate courts. And what you'll see is the trend of e-filing becoming available and then about 60 days afterwards moving to mandatory e-filing. What I'd like to do is go out to the court's website and show you some resources that are available to you. They've provided some instructional documents and also just point out Administrative Rules 9 and 16 and also Trial Court Rule 86. So let me just actually jump out of my PowerPoint here for a moment, and I want to go to courts.in.gov, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on the e-filing link or electronic filing link under the services section. The Indiana courts have actually done a really nice job putting together information on their website regarding e-filing. So this is a really good resource for you to check if you're looking for information. I just want to specifically point out a few things on here that you should be aware of. First, I want to look at this link here where it says, when will e-filing come to your county? If we go to this page, this actually takes us to a page that lists all the courts that are currently active with e-filing. So that's what this first table here is. So we can go scroll all the way down here. You can see many courts are already active. And if we go back at the top here, we'll see there's a column for when it went active with voluntary e-filing, the date and time, or the date that occurred, and then when they went to mandatory e-filing, the date that occurred. What you're going to see mostly here is that the voluntary date is about 60 days prior to the mandatory date. And then also many counties have gone live with mandatory e-filing on initial filings as well. Many of those just recently here on May 5th, so you see that date here as well. So these are the lists of courts that are currently available for e-filing. So if you're wondering whether or not a county is available for e-filing, this is a good resource to check out. And if we scroll down the page, you see there's a tentative schedule here for those courts that are coming soon. So you can see sort of next up on the docket are Vigo and Whitley counties. starting on May 26th and June 1st respectively, and then again moving to mandatory e-filing about 60 days after they begin to e-file. So that's the trend you'll see. What we expect is over the next 12 to 18 months, all counties throughout the state of Indiana will be available and actually mandatory for e-filing. So the sooner you get started with e-filing in the counties that are allowing it thus far, the more experience you'll have with it and the better off you'll be once mandatory e-filing is implemented statewide. The other thing I'd like to point out on the court's website is this link here that says choose an e-filing service provider. This is going to show you a list of all the e-filing service providers available in Indiana. Obviously, Green Filing is one of those. We were actually the first e-filing service provider to be certified in Indiana. But the court has kind of put together a nice feature here. If we click this link here that says Start Filing under Green Filing, they take you to what we call a bumper page. Basically, before they send you off to Green Filing so you can check out our service and create an account, they're kind of put together a little bullet point list here to say, hey, before you begin e-filing, make sure you check out these resources. And these are all resources the court has put together and posted to their website. The first thing on the list here is to attend a training webinar, which you are all doing today, so that's a good thing. The next thing is to read our e-filing user guide, including Indiana-specific information you need to know. This information may not be covered elsewhere. So if you click this link, this is going to take you back to the court's website. They have some information about the user guide, and then you can actually click this link here that says read the e-filing user guide, and that's going to show you a PDF document that's got all kinds of great information in it that the court has put together, not only how to e-file using the e-filing system, but things sort of related to e-filing, like how do I sign documents or how do I scan documents. You'll see things like terminology that gets used a lot when we're talking about e-filing that gives you definitions for those sorts of things. So we don't have time to go over this in detail today, but this is a really good resource for you to take advantage of. You can print it out, keep it on your desk, so that you can refer to it when you may need to. The next thing on the list is to read Indiana Trial Rule 86, governing e-filing in the trial courts. So if we go ahead and click this link, this is going to take us out to the Indiana Rules of Court website, and then again we'll go down to Trial Rule 86 to view the rule governing electronic filing and electronic service in the state of Indiana. Again, we don't have time to go through this rule in its entirety, but as you begin to participate in e-filing, you want to make sure that you read and understand this rule so that you can take it into account as you're participating in e-filing. So another good resource for you. Also, there is a rule specific to e-filing and the appellate court. So that's what this link here is for the appellate rules. This will take you to the rules of appellate procedure. You can scroll down here to Rule 68, electronic filing and electronic service. Click on that, and again, read the e-filing rules specific to e-filing in the appellate court. So very important that you understand the rules associated with e-filing as you begin to participate in e-filing. They also have on here links to Administrative Rule 9. This is the rule that governs sort of the confidentiality of documents and information on cases. So if we click this link, this is going to take you out to Administrative Rule 9, access to court records. So you want to make sure that you become familiar with this. And this is important because as you go through the process of e-filing, you're going to be asked to set a security on your document. And we'll show you what that looks like as we do the demonstration. The nice thing that the court has done here is they've put together this guidance on AR Administrative Rule 9 document as well. This is a little chart. You can print this out and keep it on your desk. That kind of gives you some information about how to determine whether or not your filing is confidential or your document is confidential. So you can utilize this chart to decide how you want to set the security level on your documents. So once again, another really good resource for you. Finally, they also indicate here, make sure that support@greenfiling.com and efilingmail@tylerhost.net are whitelisted if you use any spam filtering software. As you e-file, the system does generate a lot of email, so you want to make sure that your email isn't getting caught up by your spam filter or anything like that. All right, so let me just take a moment and jump back here to my PowerPoint. So again, just wanted to give you a brief overview of what's going on with Indiana in terms of e-filing and some of those resources that are available to you. So what I'd like to do now is get into actually doing some e-filing demonstrations. So we're going to use Green Filing as our electronic filing service provider. We'll go ahead and set up an e-filing account. We'll configure it so that we can begin filing. And then we're going to do some demonstration filings. We'll do a brand new case filing. We'll do a filing on an existing case. I'll show you how to monitor your filing status both through the email notifications that are generated and through the application itself. And then we'll look at some other features of the system, user preferences, reporting features, things like that. So once again, let me jump out of my PowerPoint and I'm going to go back to the web browser. Now I'm going to go ahead and check this box and continue on to Green Filing. So what we're doing now is we're visiting the webpage greenfiling.com/Indiana. This is our webpage specific to our Indiana service. Really encourage you to check out the information on this page. You can read up on the different features that we offer, different plan options. We have some testimonials posted here, some frequently asked questions, things of that nature. The things that I'll specifically mention today is that we do believe we are the fastest, easiest e-filing service in Indiana. It's a single screen application that just dynamically updates to collect the information we need in order to submit your filing to the court. And we provide 24/7 support by phone, by live chat, and by email. And you'll see our phone number is right here in the middle of the screen, nice and easy to find. The live chat is always available in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And then the service is just $1 per filing submission. You can file multiple documents in a single submission as long as they are on the same case. So encourage you to check out Green Filing. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us. Use the live chat, use the phone number, and we're happy to help. If you're ready to create an account, you're just going to click the Sign Up tab in the upper right. This is going to take you to our new Sign Up screen. Now, I won't go through the sign up process in its entirety. It's pretty self-explanatory. On the first screen, you're essentially going to enter an email address and password. Also create a security question. You'll click Continue. That will take you to step 2 of the process, which just collects your contact information, and then you'll submit your registration. Once you submit your registration, you're going to receive 2 emails. One email will come from Green Filing. It's just a welcome email and provides some information on how to get started. The second email comes from the eFile Indiana system. That email will have an account activation link in it. To activate your account, you'll just want to click that link, and then that will redirect you to the login screen so that you can log in and get started. One thing I should mention is if you don't get that account activation email within a few minutes, don't wait around for it. Probably means it got caught up in a spam filter or something like that. So reach out to us, use the live chat support, give us a call, and we can help you manually get your account activated. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and log into the system. I've actually already created an account. I've created it as a law firm, and I'm going to log in as a support staff user. On my account, I've already added multiple attorneys and multiple support staff, legal secretaries, paralegals, things like that. So I'm going to log in as a support staff user, like a legal secretary, and kind of show you e-filing from that perspective. So go ahead and input my password and click login. Now, once you log in, you're going to land on our system dashboard. On the left-hand side of the dashboard, we have some sort of quick links on how to get started here, links into filing, also quick links on help articles. We'll always post our system status on the dashboard as well. On the right-hand side, we have some information about the activity on your e-filing account. So you see some different accounts over here. We're going to talk more specifically about those things as we go through the webinar. Before I get into a demonstration filing, let me just kind of give you the overall layout of our application. This dashboard area here that I'm kind of highlighting, this is considered the main content area of our application. So as we navigate around, this is where the content will change and where you'll be doing the bulk of your work. In the upper left, we have our main navigation. Currently, we're on the e-filing tab. So then down the left-hand side, we get things related to e-filing, things like file a new case, look at our filing status. We also get quick links to different cases that we've been working on or filing on. If I were to change my main navigation to settings, then we're going to get things related to my account settings. If I go to reports, then the sub-navigation changes to the different reports. So you can kind of see we have main navigation at the top and then sub-navigation down the left-hand side depending on which option you've chosen in the main navigation. Along the top here, we also have a support tab. If you click this tab, this is going to open up a new browser tab and take you to our support website. On this website, there's all kinds of help articles on how to do things within the system. You'll see there's a search field here. You can search through these help articles. And also on the right-hand side, we have our phone number, we have our email address, and we also have the live chat support option. So at any time, you can use any of these support channels to contact us, and we are happy to help if you have any questions. If you close this tab, you're right back into the application. And I also want to point out that in the lower right-hand corner, you'll still see that live chat support tab right in the application itself. So you could be right in the middle of a filing at any time, start up a chat, and there'll be a chat agent there to help answer your questions. All right, so now that we have the overall layout of the application, let's go ahead and get started with the demonstration filing. So the first thing I'd like to demonstrate is how to file a brand new case in the Indiana courts. You'll notice on the dashboard here, there's a section that says start a new filing, and then it says if you are new to the system, be sure to complete the following tasks. And the first task is to set up a payment account. In order to file a new case with the court, we have to have an option available to us to pay any court filing fees. So that's why you have to set up a payment account first. If I were to try and initiate a brand new case and I didn't have one set up, the system would prompt me to go ahead and set one up. So what happens is I land on our settings and payment settings screen, and then it gives me the add a payment account dialog. So to add a payment account, it's very easy to do. I'm just going to go ahead and select the option for court service filing and service fees, put in a payment account nickname. So maybe we can use the nickname to call it whatever you want, and then select the payment account type. Now there are two types of payment accounts, a credit card payment account and a waiver payment account. Let me first just describe to you what the waiver payment account is. Waiver payment accounts are what you would use if you're filing something and you believe you do not owe any filing fees. Maybe this is because you're a government entity and you don't pay filing fees. Or maybe you represent a government entity who doesn't pay fees. Or it could be you just represent a client who's already been granted a waiver of court filing fees. In those instances, the system's going to present to you fees to be paid, but what you're going to do is say, I want to use my waiver payment account to take care of those fees. So in order to do that, you need to create a waiver payment account, and it's very easy to do that. You just type in a nickname, you can call it waiver, whatever you want, select the account type of waiver, and then click continue. What this will do then is you'll land back on your payment settings screen and you'll see that that waiver payment account has been added. So that will be an option for you to select during the filing process. From this screen, you can add, edit, delete payment accounts. You'll notice I have two waiver payment accounts here. I actually only need one, so I'll just go ahead and delete one. And so you can see you can do any of that from this screen. Now we're likely going to want to go ahead and add a credit card payment account as well. So I'll click this add a payment account link on the right hand side, and we can go ahead and go through the process, except this time we'll add our credit card. So maybe this is my Wells Fargo Visa. So this time I'm going to go ahead and select credit card as my payment account type and click continue. Now it's important to understand that when you're adding payment accounts, credit cards in particular, you're not actually saving that credit card information on green filing, you're saving it on the court's online payment gateway. So that's what this screen is trying to describe to you. When you click continue here, you're now actually going to be interacting with the court's online payment gateway. So I'll go ahead and click continue. We are actually in the test system right now. So when you get here, you're seeing an option of credit card or e-check. In the live system, the courts currently only allow credit cards, but we do expect maybe at some time in the future they will allow e-checks as well. So I think that's why they've got it set up in the test system so they can test that out. For our purposes though, we're just going to go ahead and select credit card. And then we get your standard credit card form that we've probably all filled out a million times on the internet. So I won't bore you by doing this again, but you're just going to input your credit card information, name and address, and click continue. And then what will happen is you'll land back on our payment settings screen and you'll see that our credit card has been added. Once you've got a credit card added, you can return to the dashboard. And then you'll notice the second step here indicates that you must have a filing attorney available. Now, if you're logged in as an attorney, then obviously you can file on your own behalf and you can continue on. I happen to be logged in as a support staff user, like a legal secretary. So in order for me to file, I have to have an attorney available for me to file for. If I didn't have one available and I tried to initiate a new case, then I would be prompted to go ahead and add an attorney. So we're redirected to our settings and manage users screen, and then I get the add attorney dialog here. So to add attorney is very easy. We're just going to input a bar ID and then a name. And this is actually all that's required in order to add an attorney to the system for you to file on behalf of. You can, however, if you would like, make that attorney a user of the system as well. If you go ahead and type in their email address and then you can check this box to make them a user, that will allow them to have their own login and e-file on their own as well. So as you're adding attorneys, you can add them just as somebody you're filing for or somebody that you want to make a user of the system. If you're making them a user, you can also make them a firm administrator. And if you're adding their email address, you can also make them a service contact at this time. We'll talk more about service contacts as we go through the filing process, but essentially what a service contact is somebody that you can add to your filing in order to send an electronic notification that your filing has occurred. So it's essentially e-service. We'll talk more about that as we go through the filing process. From here, you're going to go ahead and click Add Attorney, and then what will happen is you'll land on our Manage User screen, and you'll see that your attorney has been added to the system. So I've actually already added several attorneys and several support staff to my account. You can use this screen to manage your attorneys and support staff. You'll notice on the right-hand side there's an Add Attorney and Add Support Staff link. So you can come here at any time to add any users that you need to. All right, so I'll go ahead and return to dashboard. Now that I have a payment account set up and an attorney set up, I should be able to go ahead and initiate a new case. So I'm going to go ahead and click this button right here, Initiate a New Case. This is going to direct us to our new case filing screen, which is designed to just have you complete the screen step by step. It will dynamically update to collect the information that we need from you in order to submit your case to the court. So the first step is to indicate which court you are filing in. So this is a list of all the courts currently available for electronic filing. You're simply going to select the court you want to file in. For this example, I'll try Hamilton County here. So then we move on to step 2, which asks us to select a case type. This is a list of all the case types currently available for e-filing. So we'll simply select the type of case that we want to file. For this example, I'll go ahead and try a civil tort case. So section 3 then is the section that we're going to be asked to identify and upload the documents that we need to submit to the court in order to file our case. So the first field here is a document type field. This is a list of the document types that court has identified as available for e-filing a brand new case. So we can go ahead and select the document that makes most sense. For my civil case, most likely I'm going to be selecting this complaint or equivalent pleading option. Now that title will then default into this document description field, but this field is editable. You can change it to whatever you'd like. So if I just want to call this a complaint, I can remove that whole equivalent pleading part and just call it a complaint. And then the next step will be to actually browse out to your computer and select the file that you're going to submit to the court. So this is like attaching a document to an email. We're going to go ahead and click this browse button here, and this will open up the file system on your computer so that you can select the document you want to submit to the court. A couple of things to point out here. One, the court does require that we submit to them your document in a PDF format. So if you convert the document to PDF before you upload it to us, that's great. However, if you want to upload your Word or WordPerfect documents, we'll convert those documents to PDF for you. The second thing is the courts do have a file size limit of 25 megabytes. So if you are creating documents, you want to be aware of file size, particularly if you're scanning documents. You want to make sure your scanner settings aren't as such that are going to create extremely large files. Scanning in black and white is always a good idea. Probably also no higher resolution than 300 dpi. That should create documents that are very reasonable file sizes for you. So for this example, we'll go ahead and select a file from my computer that I want to upload and submit to the court. So I have a Word document here. I'll go ahead and select that. And then I'm going to click Add and Upload. Now you'll notice when I click Add and Upload, we simply just sort of created a line item here, which shows the document we just uploaded. You'll notice the file name is a link. And you'll also notice I had uploaded a Word document, but the file extension is now .pdf. That's because we've converted it to PDF for you. If I click this link, this will actually show me the document so I can see what it looks like, make sure the formatting's okay. If everything's good, I can just close that tab and I'm right back to my filing. You'll also notice the fields are still available for you to identify and upload more documents. That's because you can submit multiple documents in a single submission. So if you need to submit additional documents along with your complaint to make up this case, you can do that now. So let's say, just by way of example, I'll just say I have a notice of claim. I'll go ahead and leave that title as notice of claim, and I can browse out and select my second document and then add and upload. So again, we just have another line item here with that document. So you can continue to do this to upload all the documents you need to in order to make up your filing or your new case filing. I'll just stop with those two and then I'll move on to section 3. This is where we have to identify the security level on our document. So for each document listed here, you'll see there's a security field and you have a few different options. Is it confidential under Administrative Rule 9? Are you filing into a confidential case, or is it a public document? So we talked earlier about the court asks you to identify the security of a document when you're filing. This is where we're doing that. For this example, I'll go ahead and just make these public documents. In this section, you're also going to see this optional services field. This is actually not being used by the Indiana courts right now, but in the future, you might see things pop up in here like things like request certified copies or just copies of your document, things of that nature. But for now, you can just leave these as none. So we'll go ahead and move on to section 5, which is where we're going to enter our new case parties. If we're filing a new civil tort case in Indiana, that's going to require a plaintiff and a defendant. So we go ahead and populate 2 boxes here identifying a plaintiff and a defendant. So you just need to fill out the information for each. When you're entering parties, you can enter them as an individual or a business. So for this example, I'll just try a business. And then we can go ahead and make up a business name. I'm just making stuff up here. And we'll go ahead and put an address in. You can also select the attorney that's representing the party. So this is a list of the attorneys that are in your firm. So you can go ahead and select the attorney that's representing the party on your new complaint. And then we'll go ahead and put in our defendant and the address for the defendant and the zip code. You'll also see that representing attorney field on this as well, but it's probably not likely one of the attorneys in your firm is going to be representing the plaintiff and defendant. So if it's not applicable, you can just leave it blank. Now, if you have multiple plaintiffs or multiple defendants, you can add them at this time. That's what this Add Party link is for here. If you click Add Party, then you can go ahead and select the additional role. So let's say I was adding another defendant. So I'll go ahead and select the role of a defendant. And then we can go ahead and add that additional party. You can complete the address. If you don't know the address of a party, you can just check this address unknown box and it removes those fields as a requirement. So you can continue to click this Add Party link as many times as you need to add all your parties on the case. For this example, I'll just stop with the 1 plaintiff and 2 defendants, and we'll move on to section 6. Section 6 is where I just have to identify the party I'm filing on behalf of, and you do that just by checking the box next to their name. So in this case, I'm filing a new complaint, so most likely I'm filing on behalf of the plaintiff, so I'll go ahead and select the plaintiff as the party I'm filing on behalf of. We'll move on to section 7. This is where you can add or attach service contacts. By doing so, essentially we're going to identify people that we want to send an electronic service notification of this filing, essentially e-service. Now I should point out that on a new case filing, if your filing requires service of process or personal service, this will not suffice for that. You could use it to supplement that, but it doesn't suffice for that. You're going to want to continue to do that by traditional means. Probably one of the most common uses we see of service contacts on a new case filing is that the filing attorney adds themselves as a service contact. That way, when others file on this case in the future, they can easily select that person to send them an electronic service notification. To add service contacts is very easy. You're just going to click this Add a Service Contact link. That will pop up a dialog to add or attach service contacts to this case. You'll see there's 3 radio buttons here. This first is From My Firm. This will show you a list of all the service contacts that are associated with your firm, and you can just select the ones that you want to attach to this case. So I'll just go ahead and select 2 and then click Add and Attach. The second option is to search a public service list. So as service contacts are created, they can be identified as public or not, meaning they're searchable on this list. So you could search by first name, last name, or firm name. Probably the best use of this is if you're filing something, you know who opposing counsel is, but you don't know their service contact information. You could search for them on the public list and see if they're available. So I've searched just for first name George, and you can see there's a bunch of contacts that match, and then I can simply select the one that I want to serve. Now the last option is to add a brand new contact. So if the person you're trying to serve wasn't on the service list, wasn't in your firm, you could go ahead and create a brand new person. So we'll just go ahead and type in a first name, last name, email address, and we can create a brand new contact. So by doing that, I've added these 4 people to my filing. When I submit this filing, they're going to receive an electronic service notification from the system. Now it's important to understand a few things about this. One, these emails are generated by the court's system. They are tracked, so we know whether they've been sent. We know whether the documents have been opened by the service contact. And then the content of the email also tells each service contact who all else received a copy of this email. So basically the list of service contacts is contained within the content of the email. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Section 8, Filing Fees. This is where the fees associated with this filing are going to be listed out and detailed for you. So we see a $156 filing fee for the new civil tort case. Nothing specific to the documents we've uploaded. And then there's a $5.46 court convenience fee. This court convenience fee is roughly 3% of the total filing fee. That is tacked onto the filing because the courts do require you pay your filing fees electronically with use of a credit card. And anytime you do that, there are credit card processing fees, and basically the courts aren't willing to eat those fees, so they tack that on to the total filing fee. This is then where we can select the payment option we're going to use. We see our credit card, or we see that waiver payment account option here. If you did not believe you owe these fees because you're a government entity or something like that, this is where you would choose that waiver payment option. For this example, I'll just go ahead and keep my credit card there. Then we'll move on to the last section. Last section here, we need to identify the attorney we're filing this case for. So this is a list of all the attorneys that are available to us. We can go ahead and select the one we're filing this case for. Remember, I'm a paralegal or legal secretary, so I have to choose who I'm filing for. If you're an attorney, this would just default to your name. We can type in a clerk memo. In this field, you can type any note you want to the court clerk. So if there is something you need to tell the clerk about the filing you're submitting, why you've submitted, what you've submitted, for them to take into consideration as they're reviewing your filing, this is the place to do it. Nobody else will see this clerk memo. This is just between you and the court clerk. There's also a client matter number. This is an optional field where you can type in your own internal case numbers, file numbers, whatever you may call them, to track against this filing against your client. This will show up on any e-filing receipts you receive. It'll show up on any reports you generate out of the system. So it should be useful in helping you track any fees against a particular client so that you can bill back those fees to that client. Courtesy copy. This is a field where you can type any list of email addresses you would like, separated by a comma. And then what we will do is green filing will send what we call a courtesy copy email address to each of those contacts. Now this is different than the service contacts we talked about earlier. With courtesy copies, these emails are generated by green filing. They are not tracked. We attach the documents directly to the email so that the person can go ahead and look at them. Service contacts are really intended for serving opposing counsel, parties on the case, electronic service. Courtesy copies are just intended to notify somebody that you've submitted this filing. So maybe it's a client, maybe it's somebody else in your firm. You just want to let them know, hey, I've got this done, this filing's been submitted. Last option here is to check this box indicating that everything you've done so far is good to go, and then we'll click Sign and File. So when we click Sign and File, we're going to package up all this information, all your documents. We're going to submit them to the court. The court is going to acknowledge receipt, and then we will be redirected to our filing status screen, where you will see your filing listed with a status of pending. That means it's pending clerk review. And then you'll see that it has an envelope number assigned to it. Envelope numbers are assigned by the court's system. So you know if the court, if your filing has an envelope number, that the court definitely has your filing. And this is our filing status screen. Is showing us all of our pending filings. The one we just submitted is highlighted in this pinkish color here. Now, as a result of this filing, several email notifications get generated. So I want to pop over into my email and show you what some of those look like. The first email that gets generated is one that's going to look like this. It says notice of electronic filing. It'll say for case, and it'll either have a case number or an envelope number here. And a brand new case filing, it's going to have the envelope number, and then we'll go ahead and click that to open it up. And this is just going to give you some information about the filing. It's really just confirmation from the court that they've received your filing. You'll notice it says please allow 24 to 48 hours for clerk's office processing. So that's the first email that gets generated, just a confirmation email from the court's system. The next email that's going to go out is that courtesy copy email. This is an email generated by green filing to any of those email addresses you posted in that courtesy copy field. So this will just have a subject line of courtesy copy on filing, and I'll show you the filing ID. And then the recipient will open it, and they'll see, okay, this attorney just filed this document in this court here, and it has some information about the filing. And then you'll see the document is actually attached to the email. So this is just the courtesy copy that goes out to anybody you've posted into that courtesy copy field. The next email that will go out is this one, that electronic service notification that will go to the service contacts that you attach to your filing. So that will look like this one here. It says notification of service, and it won't have a case number. It usually has an envelope number here if it's a brand new case filing. So you can go ahead and open that up. And then this is going to be an email. It provides some basic information about the filing. In the content, you see a list of the service contacts that were included on this filing. And then you see a link to actually download the document. So the service contact will receive this email, and they can click this link to view and download the document. So we'll go ahead and do that. And you'll notice we see the document here that was just filed. And this is just a dummy document that we've submitted. Now, one thing you'll notice on this document is it does have a file stamp on it. Really, this is just a timing issue. If the service contact opens the document prior to the court accepting this e-filing, then it will not have a file stamp on it. If they open the document after the court has accepted it, then it will have a file stamp on it. So depending on timing, it may or may not have a file stamp when the service contact opens it. So we'll close this and go back to our email. The last email you're going to get is an email indicating whether or not the filing was accepted or rejected. That's going to look like this one here. It'll come from green filing. It says filing ID accepted, and now it will have a case number and a case name assigned to your filing in the subject line. If we go ahead and click this email to open it up, we have some really good information about the filing. First and foremost, indicates it's accepted. We're going to scroll down here and notice the document that was filed is attached to the email itself, and it will now have a file stamp on it. So anytime you e-file something, you're going to receive an accepted email, and attached to that email, you're going to get your file stamped copies of the document. The content of the email also has some good information in it. Some of the things that may interest you, we have client matter number, what the fees were that were charged, and the payment account that was used. So this acts as a really good receipt available to you if you need to share this with bookkeeping staff, accounting staff, so that you can bill back these fees to a client. That's a good way to do that. You can just forward this email to them. Also available to you, there are two links. One says click here for a detailed printer-friendly version of this receipt. If we click this link, it's going to launch your browser, and it's just going to show you the same filing, but it's going to give you a detailed version of it, all the detail about this filing. Again, you'll have the confirmed fees, the credit card, and the account that was used. You can also download this as a PDF document if you'd like, using this link at the bottom. So that's one option. There's also another option, says click here for a filing statement. This is basically the same thing, but we've kind of formatted it in more of an invoice format. So if you wanted something you could print out and send to your client, just shows them what case it was, what documents were filed, and what the fees were. And this can also be downloaded as a PDF as well. So just different formats of the receipt available to you to share with your client. So whatever works best for you. Also in this email, you're going to find a couple of links back to the system. One is of the case itself. If you click this link, this will take you back into the system and pull up that specific case. This is what we call our case summary view. You're going to see it has some case information here. You can see who the assigned judge is. You're going to have some party information. You see the service contacts attached to this filing, and you can manage these service contacts from here. And then you also see a list of all the e-filings that have occurred on the case. So this is not meant to be the official record by no means, but it's a picture that we can paint of the case to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in the case. If I pull up one of these other ones that have a little bit more data, you can see here's one, case info, party info, but see all the e-filings that have occurred on this case. Just kind of gives you a little bit more information about the current activity. So we call this our case summary view. It's something I think that's unique to green filing. Some of the other service providers don't quite do this. And then finally in the email you're going to have a link of the filing ID. This will take you directly back to that filing within the system. And then you'll see on that filing you have an accepted status. You have a link to the case if you want to view that. Next to your document, you're going to see that there's a view file stamped version link. So at any time you can go ahead and click that link and get the file stamped version. You can log back into the system at any time if you're looking for that file stamped version. And then the other thing you'll notice if we scroll down here to that service contact section is we see a list of our service contacts, and then we see a status column has now been added. And that's going to indicate whether or not your service contact has received or opened the filing. So for this service contact, it's just been sent to them. They've not opened it yet. But for this service contact, they have opened that document, and they did that on this date and time. So this can be a useful information to you to know whether or not service contacts you've attached have actually viewed your filing. All right. So that is a new case filing and all the emails generated as a result. So what I want to do now is do a new filing on an existing case. So we're going to return to our dashboard, and then we see there's a file on existing case button here. So we'll go ahead and select that. This is going to take us to our new filing screen for an existing case. And the nice thing about this is now it's basically the same exact process as a new case filing, except we don't have to enter in all that case court name, case type, and all the party information. We simply get to select the case that we want to file on. So this is a list of all the cases that have been added to my green filing account. I can simply select the one that I want to file on. Now if the case you need to file on is an existing court case that you've not added to your green filing account yet, then that's what this add a case link is for. You'll simply select that, and then it's going to ask you for a court location. can go ahead and type in that information. So let's say it's Hamilton County, and then type in a case number. So as long as this case number, and I apologize, I'm just making something up there, but as long as you have a case number and a court location that match, and you click add case, they match an existing court case, then that's going to allow us to retrieve that case from the court system and bring it back and display it to you on the screen so you can continue your filing. If you don't know a case number, there's actually an advanced case search option here as well. You can click that link, and then again you can select the court that you're looking for the case in, and then you have an option to search by an individual or by a business name. So if it's an individual, you can put in a first name and last name. If it's a business, you can put in a business name, and then you can search the court by that name. So if I were to put in a business name here and click add or search, what will happen is we'll search that court for any cases that match that name, and then we're going to show you a list of those cases to you on the screen, and you simply select the case it is that you're looking for to file on. For this example, I'll just go ahead and select one of my existing cases here. You'll notice this will then load into section 1 of the filing, and then I can continue on with my filing. So this looks very much like what we just got done doing, so I'll move through it pretty quickly. First, we have our document type. So this is a list of all the document types available to file on an existing case. We'll try doing a motion. That will default into my description field, but I can expand upon that. So if I want to call it a motion to continue, I can do that. And then I can browse out to my computer and select my motion and add and upload. And again, we can add as many documents as we need to as long as we're filing them on this same case. So let's say I'm filing an appearance of counsel too. So I'll go ahead and say appearance of counsel, browse out, and select my appearance, add and upload. Again, we can continue to do that if we had more documents. I'll stop with those two. We'll move on to section 3. I'll make these both public documents. Section 4, new case parties. Now you can add new parties to a case on an existing case during the filing process. Probably not likely we would do that with a motion, but maybe we're filing an amended complaint, amended petition, something like that, where we're adding case parties. So you can do that just by clicking this add party link. And just like we did on the new case filing, we'll just choose the role and then go ahead and fill in that party information. For this example, I won't do it. I'll use this red X to actually remove that party. And then I'll continue on to section 5, where I'm going to select the party I'm filing on behalf of. In section 6, notice the service contacts are already attached to this filing. These are service contacts that have been identified and attached to this case. So we assume if you're filing on the case, you're going to want to serve everybody. You don't have to, though. It is up to the filer on whether or not they're going to serve somebody. Just because you're attached to a case as a service contact doesn't mean you will receive an electronic service notification. The filer could choose not to serve you electronically. So they could uncheck these. They could just check people they do want to serve, or they could serve nobody. So that's completely up to the filer. For this example, I'll just go ahead and leave everybody checked. Section 7, filing fees. For this particular filing, there are no fees, so they estimate here at 0. You do have to select the payment account. You can choose your credit card if you like. You can also use the waiver if it's a 0 filing fee. And then we'll go ahead and move on to section 8, where we're going to choose our filing attorney again. You could type a note to the clerk if we want. Again, we have our client matter number. Now, if I had input a client matter number on this case before, that would default into this field. So we try to save you time, assuming on this case it's going to be the same client matter number. So we don't make you type it in every time, but you could change it if you'd like. And then same thing with the courtesy copies. Last time you filed, if you sent courtesy copies, we'll default those email addresses in here. But again, you could change them if you'd like. And final step to verify all is good and sign and file. So now again, we're going to package all this up, submit it to the court. Court will acknowledge receipt. We'll be redirected to our filing status screen. We see our status is pending, and we see the envelope number assigned. Now all the same email notifications that went out as a result of our the previous filing we did, that will happen on this filing as well. And you can utilize those email notifications to monitor the filing status. You can also, however, use the application to monitor filing status as well. You can do that just by logging in and coming to this filing status tab on the left-hand side. And you'll see all your filings listed. There's a status column that's going to indicate what the current status is. On this screen, we also have our filing ID. You can click the filing ID at any time to open up that filing and view the contents. We have the date and time submitted, the case number was filed on, which is also a link to the case, and then we display the lead document on this screen as well. If you file multiple documents, they are contained within the filing. We're just displaying to you for reference the first one that was submitted on this filing. If I go back to the dashboard, you'll notice on the dashboard we have these counts on the right-hand side. Those indicate the counts of filings that are in particular these statuses. So we have 91 pending filings, 22 drafts, 11 rejected. Notice these numbers match the counts that are next to the filing status tab on the left-hand side. So if I were to click the 91, this is going to show me all my pending filings. If I click the 22, it shows me all my draft filings. If I click the 11, it's going to show me all my rejected filings. So just different ways to filter the filing status list to show you to try and find what you're looking for. There's also a filing filters or filter filings field in the upper right hand corner of the screen. We have some different default filters here. So if you select like all filings, for example, this will show you all your filings, and then you can look at the status column to kind of monitor status. If you just wanted to see all your accepted filings, you could do that. You can also do things like show me all the filings for a particular attorney. So you could type an attorney name in here and then just select that attorney from here to see all those filings. Or you could say show me all the filings from a particular case. So if I wanted to type a case name or a case number in here, I can select that case and then it would show me all the filings just on that case. So lots of different ways to filter this screen. The other thing you'll notice on this screen is we have some envelope icons here. These envelope icons mean that there were service contacts attached to the filing. Now if the envelope icon is open, that means that all the service contacts on a filing have actually opened the documents that were served. So if I click on this filing ID and then I scroll down to the service contact section, there only happened to be one service contact on this filing, but you notice that this person has opened that document. So this can also be useful because there's another feature of the system we call create serve only. Serve only filings are when you might have a need to serve your documents on other parties in the case, but you do not want to file them with the court. So if you wanted to do that, you can use the system to do that, and then you get to track whether or not those service contacts have opened your filing. So that's this create serve only feature on the left-hand side. You can go ahead and click that. This looks very much like the filing process, except when you submit, we're only going to send notifications to service notifications to the service contacts you've attached. We're not going to file it with the court. So we can go ahead and select our case. Once we do that, you'll notice the document type just defaults to service only. Then we can put in a document description. Let's say these were discovery documents, so I'll just call them that. And then we'll browse out, select our documents, add and upload. And again, you can serve as many documents as you'd like. So if I had something else, maybe I'll just call it an exhibit. You can browse out, select our exhibit, add and upload. So as many documents as you want to submit. You do have to indicate which party you represent. And then notice here are the service contacts attached to this case. So we're basically saying I want to send a copy of this to all of these service contacts. You can again choose which ones, or you could serve them all. We do have a client matter number you can track this against. You can check this box to verify all is good and then sign and serve. Now in this instance, we are not submitting these filings to the court. We're simply submitting them so that the system can send those electronic service notifications to all the parties. Now at any time you can go ahead and click on your filing ID and check out if your service contacts have opened those filings or not. Now speaking of service notifications, there's one other item I'd like to cover with you, which is this notifications tab on the left-hand side. You'll also notice on the dashboard there's this section here that indicates 70 unread notifications. What these are service notifications that have been sent to you. So whether you select yourself as a service contact on your own filings or others select you as a service contact on their filings, you're going to be sent an electronic service notification. Now you're going to receive those by email, but the nice thing is the court provides us a copy of those as well. And because we know that sometimes email can be unreliable, in other words, we can send email to you all day long, doesn't mean that you're going to receive the email. It could get caught up in a spam filter or something like that. So we go ahead and take a copy of your service notifications and log them on your Green Filing account. So at any time you can log into Green Filing. You can see here that on the dashboard how many notifications have been sent to you, and then you can view those notifications. So if you ever think you missed anything, this is a good place to check. On the left-hand side here, we can just click this Notifications tab. It's going to show you a list of all the service notifications that have been sent to you. You can click on those notifications to open them up, see the detail about the filing, and also there's a link available to view the document. So that's what the Notifications tab is all about. That's what this unread notification section is all about on the dashboard. All right, so with a few minutes to spare, I believe I've covered everything that I wanted to cover with you all today. We kind of talked a little bit about Indiana e-filing and the resources available to you, showed you how to create an e-filing account, get logged in and configure that account with your payment accounts and your users, attorney users, in order to allow you to e-file. Then we did a brand new case filing. We did a new filing on an existing case. We did a serve-only filing. We showed you how to monitor your filing status through the email notifications that are generated, and also using the filing status tab here on the website itself, and also briefly talked about the notifications that are stored within your Green Filing account. So at this time, I am happy to answer any questions anybody might have. Now we've spent the bulk of our time on this e-filing tab, but I want to show you, if we go to our settings tab, this is where you can manage information about your account. So you can edit your user information, change your password. We kind of went over the manage users and payment settings screens already. We're currently on the user preferences screen, and there is one option that I'd like to point out here. You'll notice under these efile.incourts.gov user preferences, there's an option to turn off filing accepted, rejected, and submitted emails. I actually recommend doing this. You might have noticed as we went through the emails, you got a lot of emails as a result of a single filing. Many of those emails come directly from the court, and that's what these are here. We recommend you turn off the filing accepted, rejected, and submitted emails, and then in the Green Filing preferences, where it says email notifications, turn on the status summary emails, and then also the checkbox to include file stamp documents to those emails. What this will do is really minimize the number of emails you get, but you're still going to get all the information you need because it is contained in those status summary emails that come from Green Filing. So that should really help you out quite a bit. So at any rate, settings tab, this is where you can manage different settings about your account. Now if you're in a firm administrator, if you have a firm administrator role on your account, there's also an account tab here. This is only available to firm administrators. It's basically the same thing as what we see under settings, but firm administrators have a little bit more control about what they can do. They can update firm information, they can delete users from the system, delete payment accounts from the system, things like that. Most normal users are not able to do those things. Finally, there's a reports tab. There are several reports generated out of the system. Probably the most useful report or the most popular report used on Green Filing is this Filing Activity and Fees report. You can run this for any date range. So I'll expand my date range a little bit here. And then you go ahead and click Run Report. And what this is going to do is show you a list of all the filings that have submitted to the court during that date range. In this list, you're going to see all the detail about the filing, but probably the most important thing you're going to want to look at is the right-hand column, which indicates the fees that were charged as a result of this filing. And then there's a client matter number as well. So you can utilize this report to kind of track fees against your client matter number and download, use this to bill back those fees to your client. You can download any report to Excel or PDF. So if I click this Excel icon here, this is going to download the report to Excel. And then when you have it in Excel, you can, filter it, format it, sort it, do whatever you want to do with it. Save it to your computer, share it with others in your firm, so on and so forth. All the same detail will be contained within this report. There's another report, we call it the filing activity per case report. Again, you can run this for any date range. So I'm just going to expand my date range here. Click Run Report. This is essentially the same thing, but what we've done is we've grouped the filings by the case. So you can see for this case, here's all the filings on that case, and then we actually can subtotal the fees. Let's see if there's a better example of one with multiple fees. A lot of these are just single filings on a case, but you see at the bottom there's a subtotal of the fees. So this can be a useful report as well, just a different way to look at it by case rather than just a giant list of filings. Another option is the client matter number report. Again, this is a similar report except we group by client matter number. Or you can run it for a specific client by entering their client matter number here. But if I run the report just for everybody, you can see there's client matter number and then the filings. So here's one where we have a client matter number and then several filings. So another way of looking at similar information. We also have what we call a filing fees report. This report is just going to show you any filings that actually had court fees associated with them. So anything that had a $0 fee would not be shown on this report. And then what we do is we group the report by the payment account that was used. So this is probably the most useful report in using to reconcile fees against your credit card. So for this payment account that was used, here's all the filings that were submitted. So you can use this report, you can use this section here to reconcile all the fees that were charged against this credit card. So that's the filing fees report. And then the last report is what we call a case list report. This report will just show you a list of all your cases in green filing. So if you needed to see this list, print it out, download it to Excel for any reason, you can do that utilizing this report. So you can see we can download to Excel as well. Go ahead and expand these columns out. So at any time you can run any of these reports, download to Excel or download to PDF. All right. So I believe that's actually all I have to show you. I just wanted to show you those few additional things so that you can become familiar with those as you use the system as well.